Welcome to the channel. This is Reliable Rudy. Oh, I don't think we're set up yet. Okay, it looks like we are good. Welcome to the channel, guys. This is Reliable Rudy. Going to be doing some live trading. We are in a trade on CXAI at the moment, and holding a couple others that we are going to be addressing that we've talked about in live streams earlier, at an earlier date. Before we go into any live analysis, as you guys know, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Get my Discord open real quick. So simply sharing my opinion with this analysis and with this trading. I believe short-term trading is just a big voting machine. I think it's in the long run, it is a weighing machine. I believe equity, indexes, ETFs, they will trade near its intrinsic value in the long term. How long it takes to get there, who knows? So I'm just going to post a couple things out real quick, and then we will get to the trading, as I have a few outs on this name around this 13 level, and I just have it identified as, it tries to hold 13, it rejects 13, it rejects 13 again. So in my opinion, I believe that needs to be respected. So we have a couple outs here around this 13, and we will go from there. Almost set up, guys. Okay, it looks like we're all good to go. Yep, okay. So let's take a look at why I took this trade on COSM. Let's just clear out everything on the chart. I see that when we regain strength, obviously it's nice to see this nice little pop right here. We trade to some levels, but it's just really choppy. It's really tough to really get an idea of what you're looking for. But now that I can see that we have some sideways consolidation for about a month's period of time, I like this nice green move up to a level. On this wick, we were able to fill this gap right here, which is a 13.17. So all I was looking for is, let's see it build some consolidation, hold some levels in the middle of this green move. And at the time, I had some sort of downtrend set like that. Where is this going to be a potential channel? Now when I seen it was potential we were going to get a gap up, this is why we wanted to take a trade. We had an alert set on the 1250 move. But I was watching this, and we took an early entry on this right off the open, and we had a few outs, and we actually have a reload off of 1230, so almost a wick low when we were on the bid for a 1225. So I'm just going to mark 1225. So you can see we got really close to that reload, and just trying to respect this 13. So now that I can see the first two 15-minute candles, I like the volume, very equal volume, and nice green candle. I just want to see 1250 hold, but let's get a little bit better look of this downtrend right here. More so it was set like this. So I seen at the end of the trading day yesterday that, hey, we're kind of trying to peek through this. And let's adjust this. See how we have a nice parallel channel to the downside? All I wanted to do was, can we break to the upside of this channel, and is there any further move where this could be some sort of retracement? And you can see this 1318. My next retracement level is a 1370. After that, we're talking about potential breakout to the high side. So let's take this out. This is how I have my chart marked. That's how I'm doing it, and we will go from there. Looking forward, AI, as you guys know, we've been nursing this AI position, and we did get stopped out of some shares. We've seen it kind of flirt down below this. All we did was kind of put a stop underneath of this wick right here. So like at 12, I think it was at 37.80, and we are still holding a little piece of this just in case we want to pull back into like 36 and start to curl back up. But obviously some increased red volume as we were approaching this gap. I was ready to cut some as we were getting close to this 40, but we never got close enough. And realistically, I wish I could tell you that I trimmed this previous low right here at the start of the gap down, but I did not. So maybe some improvement and stuff to look back at and learn from. So that is the AI trade. Just kind of gonna let it nourish. We have plenty of outs on this name, and we see no need to go further. COSM, we got our first trim on COSM up. Now I was taking lunch during this period, and when I came back, I seen the prices right here. I would have loved to get a 4 tap for that name, but I got a 392. Now it was a 10% cut or 10% trim. And why only 10% is because I believe that my entry is fairly early around this 340 range as we were getting this positive strength on nice volume, nice consolidation, taking out those highs. So I want to see if this can break over top of this 4 level, which is basically this wick, and this can run probably further across right there. So I want to see it get over this 4 level where we can say, hey, let's go try and uh, push up for a higher range. Obviously, you can see it would have been nice to be sitting here saying, hey, I got this 3 entry. Look at that 3 support. Since December, since November of last year, even since October of last year, this 3 has been respected. So yeah, that is the AI, COSM, and CXAI. Ford, well, you guys were watching me take this live trade a couple weeks back. We were basically buying this trend line, and we have an 1126 bottom fill. Now I'm not perfect. I also was starting my position up here at this 1175, and we had to hold it against us. So a lot of resilience in this trade, and I'm pretty proud of it. And I've only had one trim, and the trim actually, it's gonna suck to say it, but the trim came around this 1255. Somewhere in here, we just took a piece off because I didn't want to hold it back into the gap where, hey, we can retrace back down into 12 flat, where I would have looked to reload. But yesterday, got a nice green engulfing candle through a level. Now we got a gap up and continuation. I'm going to be looking on the ask in front of this 1350. So we're actually going to go put a bid out for that right now that I can see. This is very strong. So we're going to try a 1340 and a 1348 right off of that gap, and we'll see where that goes. So I'm going to go put those orders in. And I can see the CXAI trades kind of just trading in some levels still, so nothing too alarming right there. So let's go take a couple pieces off of the Ford. We're actually just going to mark it a little bit out right now. Just respect it. And now we can put some orders out in front of this gap. So we're going to go 1340. And we're going to go a little bit right off of that gap at 1348. There we go. So we got some orders out. We have one trim on the day, and working for us pretty good. So we're pretty happy with that. I knew Hal, if anybody's joining the live stream from H&H Trader, he was looking at farm, and I just need more information. I'm not interested in trading that right now. Nice couple green candles on StitFit or SFix. A-firm, nice strong move, is able to take out the wick high. Is this going to turn into some ascending channel like that? Not really sure. BuzzFeed, we've looked at a few times, and CXAI, it looks like it wants to just keep running. So we've already respected this level, and I don't have a reload. It would have been nice to have been paying attention to it a little bit better. We maybe could have tried something in that 1260, the top of this body candle, 1270. But we did not get any reload in there, so we're just going to hold this and see if this wants to get through this 1370, which it doesn't look like it wants to just yet. So we might even be lucky enough to reload this back in around the original entry. A couple other notables that you guys know I like talking about is oil. So let's go take a look at oil. And I've been pretty adamant that, I like oil. I'm waiting for one way or the other. I'm waiting for either a break of 75 or back down to this trend line. So with it being kind of in the middle right here, I'm not going to be interested in it. But CXAI actually is starting to give us this break. You can see it kind of play out into fruition here, where if we can set a close over top of 1240, this is going to be a pretty bullish close in my opinion. Simply because this is the body candle right here, and it's still kind of fighting this 13-15 range, but a lot of volume relative to what it's been doing. If you're comparing it to over here, obviously it's not the most volume, but three nice green candles coming in right here. I just want to see this kind of hold a nice uptrend to the upside. So now that I know that's through this downtrend, what I'm going to try and do is actually build an upward channel right here, sort of like that. So uh, up to the top end right here, 1450, I can see we're coming into some resistance as well. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at there. Uh, but I wish I had more size on it, but obviously I don't, and I don't have a reload in at the moment. So we are going to just continue to nurse this position, and let's go actually just set an alert right here. If it gets underneath 1272, we're going to think about reloading this. So that's all that alert is going to be telling me. That way I don't need to keep my eyes on this. If it wants to blast higher, I'm going to see it on my top gainers. So that's two different ways I'm going to use to keep an eye on this name. So let's go try and find anything else. The IEP. Man, this one is going to kill me to talk about. We talked about getting stopped out of some shares. This would have been Monday. Yes, Monday we got stopped out of some shares right here, and we said to ourselves, hey, we still are holding this uptrend. And yesterday it gave us another move and still holds the uptrend, set to close up near 24, which is this gap fill. And now that it doesn't have to really worry about this gap, boom, you get the gap up, and look at this continuation right here. So that's kind of some of the stuff that I'm looking for right there. And I see CXAI is trying to come back in. We have 1 minute left on this candle. I'm going to be interested in adding to this position. Um, what else do we got? Oil play, MRO. We've talked about MRO many times, how it's respected this uptrend. We actually have a little bit of a buy down off that uptrend, but obviously we have averages up above that as well, so nothing to really brag about. But flirting with this breakout price over here, I said to myself, hey, if we can hold higher low, this is going to be looked at as a neckline. And now look at this nice green move to start the day. Increased volume on the move up. That is what I like to see right there. So not interested in cutting any oil, not interested in trimming any oil at all. Sticky note name was AF. Now this is 1275. Now I state we can go pull over the sticky note over here. This is kind of just one that I have on watch right here. Solid support 12 to 1225. So I don't think I'm going to get that today, but over 1275 to 13 potential breakout, has strength, has the growth, has margins, it's profitable. Debt's a little bit high and the cash flow is a little bit inconsistent. So that's the only thing that is a little bit alarming with this play. But let's just clear the chart and I'll show you CXAI crossing over. So hold on, we'll come back to this name. Let's see if we can add a reload on this. And let's just maybe just go ahead and add some right now. We've respected 13 pretty good. But now that this candle is showing a little bit of increased red, and now this is the candle that's coming in, let's actually be a little bit patient with this move. Because for all I know, this is going to blast through these levels and we come down and fill 1184. And I don't want to have the most size up here. I would rather reload it down here if it gives me the opportunity. So CXAI, we are going to go on the bid for a little bit of a reload off of 1250 and see if that gets filled. I don't know if that's gonna fill us or not. Yeah, we're gonna go 1250. Just a starter reload right there. Nothing of full size for anything. BMR, this was a trade yesterday. Yeah, just I don't think there's anything worth keeping an eye on there at the moment. Let's see if we get this reload. We might just have to put more attention to this. Let's take a look at AI and see if, still kind of just holding the range, so nothing really too alarming right there. CXAI, we're just going to keep an eye on it to the side right there, but let's go take a look at AFYA. So we're at that 1275 that I identify. So let's go back and take a look at why I like this. Is this potential that we're at the start of an uptrend and this is an ascending channel, sort of like this? It's potential. But looking at more broader scheme, this is why I like that 12. So here's right around that 12. Boom, 12 flat. Look at that flat top right there, guys. Boom, looks beautiful. So you would have to break the downtrend to come to that. But let's look at the daily level now that we have that little bit of information. You can see kind of a U shape, kind of a consolidation. Is this going to turn into a bull flag where over 13, here's over 13, you're flirting with the over top of this range right there. And this trend line even runs further over here, which is why this 12 range could be a little bit more enticing. We have some levels around 1208, 1230, so the levels kind of moved on me. So that is kind of interesting to look at that. But looking at this, we have a confirmed higher low now that it's showing us an uptrend build right here. This is going to be very early entry for a potential neckline break at like 17. Now I know that sounds crazy, and honestly we probably have some sort of descending channel right here. Not perfectly set by any means. But yeah, I think this is a play that is going to take a little bit of time to actually build out the position, as it would be nice to have respected this uptrend. And if we were talking about this at 1070, obviously that's a lot better. So CXAI, we're going to keep an eye on this one. Because I like the setup that it has. It looks like it wicks down to 54s. Yeah, COSM, and let's go peek back over at forward and see if that's giving us anything. So we did get a nice trim around 31s. Hopefully we can hold strength and have some continuation on this. COSM, looking for just, and this is the first bit of volume increase that we've actually really even seen on this. If we look back, this is April. This is the last time that we even seen any volume, and obviously that was the peak top. So that could be a little scary, thinking of it like that. But all in all, I think that is pretty much everything that I wanted to kind of break down for today. Just going to be nursing this AI trade, looking for some continuation. Does this channel have any true weight to it? We're going to find out today, hopefully. Yeah, what's really interesting about this is that it's kind of holding that nice green candle through that level. Looks pretty good as well. Looks like farm, excuse me, farm, if this was wanting to pull back, I'd want to see some levels kind of build in, and I'd want to see it start some sort of channel like that, where I can have some levels to trade off. UCAR, UCAR actually does have some nice sideways consolidation going on right now. I don't like the increased red volume, and is this any true like confirmation that longs are getting in? This little green move that we had, I just don't know if I can trust that very much. Kind of same thing right here. Is this any confirmation that any longs are getting in right there? Flirts with kind of a breakout price. We have a nice uptrend here on BuzzFeed. Amps was another one that we had on watch. I wanted to see it retrace back down early and fill that gap, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get that. So this was another alert name right there. I just don't see anything worth taking a look at right there. This candle on CXAI is now turning green, so GCT, this could have some potential right here. Let's break this down a little bit. It's been a while since I looked at this name. If I was setting an alert, I would probably be looking over wick, 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 wick. Now we gap up sort of right to that level. You see how I kind of identify that? Just finding some support, finding some resistance, and now can we hold above this resistance? It's I'm not sure yet. We have 7 minutes left on this candle. I do like this volume that came in to start the day, but this red engulfing candle, I need a couple more candles to kind of determine whether this is going to have any weight to it or not. I don't like this wick right there. Very wick heavy to the top side. You can see right here. This passes the rules. We got 3 nice green candles. Puts in this green candle, and all it does is kind of give you a false break. Did retrace, attempted to fill this gap. Doesn't look like it was able to. XLE, very strong move. I like the way this looks, even though this gets a little bit lower right there. I'd look at this as some sort of neckline break, and we're over top of that, so that looks pretty decent. Let's just go keep getting a little bit of a look around here. I guess it's probably worth mentioning, taking a look over at the NQ. Ooh, the NQ's kind of eating it right now. Let's see if this can help it pull back our CXAI a little bit and we can get some size. Let's go take a look at AI real quick. BNS, this was a trade from yesterday. This was one of the sticky notes from yesterday. Banking play. Here's the opening candle from yesterday. We talked about 49 support. As you can see, multiple wicks down into 49. Is this some sort of uptrend build that's starting? Is this a neckline break up at 51, 52 range? If we're talking about 49 up to 52, sign me up. I'm all for it. This was one we were looking for a pullback on. You can see I just wanted to try and get an alert inside of this green move. Alert me before this 850. Oh, we're getting a gap up and a little bit of continuation there, so I don't know if I'm going to get that lucky today with that name. If it got down there now we have the red engulfing that we'd have to worry about. So you can see AI kind of coming back and down into some levels. You can see why I like this 36. All I did was kind of mark that wick top right there, which kind of draws in over here. But 36 could be a potential reload for this name. So even though AI is going against us, we have a very good entry. This is why I think it's important to get the entry, hold a piece for the dream, trim, 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 trim as much as you can, and hold a piece for the dream. I'm a firm believer of that. So let's go back to the top gainers farm. Looks like it wants to keep making a run. CXAI, I don't know if this is going to be one that kind of breaks out soon or not, but I do like these wicks that are coming in right here. Kind of trying to hold this top right here. We can maybe try and reload this up to 1270. But one of our early trims was around that range, so I just don't know if I am interested in averaging up right there. See, this is why, if this is the move you like, let it show you 3 candles. That's a perfect example of why just patience can be your best friend sometimes. This has a nice little setup right there. CNSP, we said adios to CNSP. Would have been lovely to get a reload here, but this was the green move that we were talking about. I'm kind of a hypocrite saying this, but this is where we averaged in because we said, hey, we like the level. We know we got red engulfing to the downside. That's okay. We're going to go against it and try it. Where was that GCT? Let's go back to that GCT. We could try this. This is actually coming in pretty close to that 7 range. I just don't like the wicks on these candles to the upside. But we can try this and give it 10 cents of risk. We don't want to hold it back into this range. Yeah, let's go ahead and try this one. Kind of a hypocrite. I'm just gonna sit there on the on and just kind of look at the tape. Only 300K in volume, but relatively higher volume compared to what it's done over here. That little pop right there could be worth something. Looking at the daily. Yeah, that wick is very, very scary. But still holding strength. We had a 670 level. CXAI looks like it's going to try to reclaim 13. Twenty seconds left on this current candle. We can see forward. Yeah, no interest in going against the plan. We're going to sit there on 40s and 48s and see if that can give us any fills. Oh, what is it, puppy? Oh, good boy. He laid down. I thought he was going to try and get me to let him outside and disrupt my trading. Dang dogs, I always just cost you money. Gotta buy food. Gotta spend time. COSM kind of eating it a little bit, leaving a potential double top, maybe. I'm interested in reloading anything that I trim down here at a 60, give or take 350, 360. I'd be all for it. CXAI is down here at this 270 again. Let's go ahead and try it at this 270 or 1270. So we got orders off 1270, and whether that filled or not right there, we're gonna find out. in 1250. So if this wants to come and just tap that 1250, I'm all for it. I do not like the increased red volume in right there. More than likely, we're going to stop out at the original entry. GCT, look at that candle that came in right there. That is what I'm talking about right there. It's too bad we didn't get any fill on that. It's sitting, hovering this 1270. Let's see if we got a fill. We did not get a fill yet. UCAR kind of giving that nice bull flag consolidation where this could end up turning into some sort of breakout. If it can break over top, boom, you're going to see a green engulfing candle through that. And in my history of these tight consolidation bull flags to the upside, they're either just going to chop sideways like this, or you're going to see a green engulfing candle and a hard rejection of like a previous low. So not only do we already identify our previous low, it rejects it once before we have further downside. So this would be one that I would, if I took an entry on this around like a 860 or got it inside of this consolidation around an 850, I would be very aggressive trimming this into this level right here. And if you're lucky, you can break through that and maybe trade up to the top end of the channel around a 1050 as well. CXAI starting to turn green. This is exactly the candle we'd want to see start turning green. We never got that 1270 fill. Man, that is tough. That is tough. We're sitting there hovering at that 1270 and a little bit spready on the tape. So I didn't want to really go against the spread in this GCT. Kind of coming back in just a little bit. I do not like intraday gaps right there because a lot of times you see a boom, straight flush right through it. So we're going to give that one a little more time. Oh boy, here comes CXAI. See, now I'm going to hate myself for not trusting just buying the extra 8 cents to the upside. It's going to come back and bite me. But at least we have a little bit of a position. So if this wants to break out, I'm all for it. I think you're going to have a lot of buyers waiting for this 1350 to see what the volume looks like. And what I mean by that is for it to have volume trading around this 40K. So the current candle we're sitting at 1.6K. So a lot of people want to see a little bit more confirmation before they take this trade. Me, I just look at it as, you know, I see the catalyst for this to maybe follow this uptrend, but I do see the resistance right here. And this also meets in this breakout right there, also meets in right around over there as well. Where the breakout, you know, if I'm being even more technical, it meets up even further to the left of the chart. So this is why you're going to have a lot of people sitting right here looking at how this is going to act right there. Me, I want to try and get that entry before. So we talked about the entry here. We trimmed up to it. We talked about getting a reload here. Trim up to it. We talk about trying to get a reload here. We don't get it. We don't get it. Okay. Sometimes that's part of trading, and you're not always going to have the most ideal fill that you're looking at. Because for all I know, this is actually going to go against me. I mean, you really just don't know. Maybe we need to come trade down to this trend line at 1150 before we have any further move to the upside. You just really never know until it plays out. A lot of these oil names are looking really strong. Oil, NASDAQ. Oil, NASDAQ. I'll leave it at that. But the CXAI got through that 13. Now you can kind of see this play into and getting a little bit more volume. You have 8 minutes left on this candle. Is it going to try and break out on this candle, or is it going to wait for another candle? Amps, yeah, would have been nice to just mark it in right at the beginning. Not a really great move by any means, so maybe I'm not missing out on anything there. And I do want to say, I know I'm not trading the most well-established companies. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. We talked about oil. We talked about how I believe we're kind of sitting in a middle ground right here. Here's your more medium-term uptrend. Here's your breakout level. You see how we're sitting in the middle? Yes, oil looks good, but I'm waiting for one side or the other where I believe those oil plays are value plays. Now, if we're looking at the index, I have this marked as clear resistance. Am I trying to start new positions up here when the NASDAQ has done this? No, I'm not. Uh, that's just not. So that is why we're focused a little bit more on these uh, not as well established, well financially sound companies. That's part of why we're just sitting in some of these positions and nursing positions instead of taking new positions. As you may have noticed, I don't have as many sticky notes out. There's a reason for that. I could just go out and say, "Hey, short the Nasdaq," but the Nasdaq is strong. Looking at the 15-minute, the Nasdaq short, kind of breaking through. I mean, if I wanted to add to the Nasdaq short position, but now you look at it from a daily perspective, and you got some levels right here that you got to work through. And if I was being exact, marking those sort of levels I'm looking to trim on the NASDAQ to the upside, sort of looks like that without looking further. Boom, boom, boom. Those are my resistance points. So why start? Okay, the NASDAQ looks good today. Sure, it does. Uh, but why not when I can start adding to those down here if it gives me the opportunity? So that's a little bit of what we're looking at there. Um, yeah, so more day trade, more shorter term trading. Is that reasonable to understand? I hope that it is. Is it the perfect thing to do? No. No. There's no perfect way to invest. Everyone's different. Everyone's got to find their own strategy that works for them. And I will leave it at that. Let's take a look at the top volume for the day. Palantir. A lot of increased red volume. Nasdaq's kind of giving up the ghost. Man, I just can't do it. We were buying this name under 10. Boom, 9. Still have it marked. Still have it marked. So no way I can bring myself to trade it up there. There's no way. Looking at Ford, I like this nice sideways consolidation. I think that this actually looks a little bit primed to maybe give me a move to the upside. Unity filled the gap. We could set an alert on this if we wanted to. AI kind of giving up the ghost. This is why we executed a stop. And still holding it a little bit against us. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, other than that, just kind of gonna keep nursing this CXAI. I don't like. There we go. Let's just go through 13. Yes, that's what I like to see right there. It's gonna suck saying that we were a hard ass for 8 cents right here. And I'm actually just gonna go take my orders off right now. I'm just gonna ride with the position that I have. So I'm gonna go cancel the 1270 and the 1250. It sucks. It sucks looking back and saying, man, I was on the bid at 1250. We get freaking 4 cents off. I was on the bid at 1270. We're sitting at 1270, and now it wants to start doing that. You know, it sucks. So we're going to sit here with the position that we have. We have some trims at this level. So I'm not interested in cutting any more right here, just in case it wants to give me the shoot through this resistance. But pretty solid look. That's kind of pretty much how you draw it up. The only part that you don't draw up is the increased red volume. But what doesn't scare me about that is the wicks. If these were red engulfing candles to the downside and it had volume like this, completely different story. But you have to understand that this is buying and selling. This only turns red based off of from the open to the close price. So since this was down from the open price to the close, it's going to show red volume. But this is a pretty decent setup if I don't say so myself. So let's see if we get some further continuation to the upside here. And we will go from there. We're going to keep trying to search for some positions. Now if this wanted to break higher, keep going. This is, yep, this is exactly what we want to see. This is how you draw it up, guys. You get the early entry, you respect the levels, you reload, you respect the levels, you try the reload, you don't get it, that's too bad. So let's go, and now that we're at a higher price than we've been all day, let's go ahead and take a little piece off right here. Let's take off 10%. And let's see where this wants to fill us. Let's see if we can get through those 1350s real quick. Now you see how that volume just briefly ago. I'll go to a 5-minute here. Just briefly ago we were sitting around that 12K. And the volume just doubled like that as soon as we're getting up to, this is what I was talking about earlier, where a lot of people are waiting to see what the volume looks like right here, and that is why. Boom. So selling coming in right there. Let's see if we can reclaim that level, and anybody short off of right there is now going to be out of the money. Why would they be shorting? Because it's at a breakout price. They're trying to get the wick top to get a further move down. But this is a dandy of a setup. Now you can see with a minute left, this volume is now at 30K. If people get their eyes on it and say, hey, this volume looks like we're going to exceed this initial green move to the upside, they're going to want to jump in on this. And we have 45 lots on the bid at 35, so I think we are sitting really good on this. So let's give it a little bit of time before we make this next trim. Because this candle close right here, we actually might need to pull back into like 13 flat before we make any exhaustive move to the upside. Seven seconds left. It ate through those 35s. That's fine. I'm completely okay with it not being over there. Even if this candle pulls back, I'm expecting 13 to hold as very good support. 13.10s. Let's see the buying pressure come in around this 13. We have one lot on 7. 73. Man, I would have liked to get a trim right there. I could have just marketed for it. But I am okay with the position that I got going on right now. I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name. Sebastian Goman. Welcome to the channel. I haven't had any comments in the chat. How is it going? I'm doing good. I don't know if how long you've been in here. I'm pretty bad at looking at the chat. Uh, But just to give you kind of the skinny of where we started this position, we have an identified channel to the downside right here. Nice parallel channel, give or take like that. Let's just restart because I'm okay holding this. We're going to show you where we started our position. There is our downtrend. Now, the closing price yesterday, it showed us that it's eking above that a little bit. Now that I seen I was getting a gap up, all we did was put an alert at 1225. And as soon as we were watching this right at the open, we get our entry. Now, we trim some levels to the top side. Here's our 13. Trim, reload 1230, and we were on the bid at 1225. Why 1225? We looked at this wick high as a neckline. Boom. 1225. We don't get the reload. We trim, and then we sat on the bid at 1250 trying to get another reload. We get to as low as the low of this candle goes to 1254. We missed it by 12 cents. We put another order out there at 1270, which is the top of this candle. We open at it. We don't get a fill, which is unfortunate. Now, why do we like this? We get the increased volume at the break of the downtrend, 2 consolidation candles. Now, the increased volume is a little alarming. But the only thing that keeps me there is that we have some wicks. So there's buying and selling taking place right here. If this is a bull flag continuation, all I want to see is 13 hold, which it just gave up, which is alright because we're talking about entries down here. I'm okay holding this. If this starts showing me a wick, we have 12 minutes left on this candle. I'm not going to let anything panic me out of a trade by any means. I would have liked to get a fill up here over this 1350. Which, looking from a more technical basis, if this is a retracement, all I would do is mark out some retracement levels. So you can see how that 13 flat meets up right in there. And you can see how we're getting direct correlation with our 702 right there. So I'm trying to respect some levels. But that's just kind of the way that went. Kind of got caught up into the trade a little bit. Now I want to see this candle hold this 1270. I don't want to see a price get underneath this. We might just cut this if it gets underneath 1250. Now that it showed that there is some wicks, but I expect this 13 to attempt to hold on this candle. So you can see we're sitting right at 13s right now. So I talked about I want to see it show me a wick. There's the wick that it's showing me right there. And yeah, so let's just go put an alert underneath of that. And we can go look elsewhere unless you're interested in continuing to look at CXAI. But I'm okay holding it with a little bit of chop. Yes, it would have been nice to get a trim off 1350 right there, but sometimes that's not how it works out. So if that alerts us, we'll come back and address it. But I think that this 13 should hold on this candle, and let's see if we can get further upside. Now, now that it's not a downtrend, is it potential that we have an uptrend, an ascending channel that also meets in with some levels? Here's a previous low right at the 702, and the top end of that channel is my 786. So let's see if we can get a move up to there. Now also, kind of looking at some of the other plays in the chat, we talked about AI. AI was from the live stream a couple days ago. We talked about this previous low. We had an alert. That alert alerted us, and all we did was kind of bought some consolidation in here. We got a little bit lucky with this move through. We respected some highs. We respected these highs right in there, and we respected some lows. So we have a low right here. We respected it. We have some lows in right here. We respected it. Now, I wish I could tell you I respected this, but I thought I was going to get the full extension to the gap fill. So the gap fill from the entry, we were identifying as around a 23%. Now, we also had a stop in today for this trend line. As soon as it showed us this wick down, okay, can it hold the uptrend? Let's put a stop in underneath 37.70. We got stopped out. We're still holding a piece of this. I know you're going to be like, why are you holding a piece of this when it's giving you red engulfing to the downside? We go over to the daily. I always respect the daily levels. I'm actually interested in CXAI crossing over that. So I'm really going to be kicking myself for not trimming that level, but this could be an opportunity to buy. We tried getting 1270. We took that off. We're at 1279. Now, had I gotten a trim up here, I may be thinking of getting a reload right here. But we're actually just going to go put a stop in underneath this green candle a little bit. And let's go 1260. Now you may be saying, hey, 1260 is support, but I'm not interested in holding it back to the downtrend or the uptrend. It's possible we need to pull back in to this neckline, meeting up with the uptrend before we get that move. Now I'd be surprised if 1260 actually triggers us, and we could actually go a little bit lower below these wicks. You know, for the sake of the matter, I'm just going to hold it for right now. Let's re-put in an alert off of 1266, and we'll go back to there. But looking back to AI, we're going to go look at that daily level. Looking at the 15-minute right here, I would say you have some tops in right here, meeting in around this 36. So I'm okay if this can hold as support. Now, if it can't hold as support, I'm already telling myself, hey, I may have to hold it back into the top of this wick right here. Am I okay holding that right there? Geez, CXAI, we're going to have to go and cut this puppy, which is going to suck to say. I would assume that the NASDAQ is probably giving up the ghost a little bit. And it sucks to say that we didn't get a fill up there at 1350, but that red engulfing candle coming in, we'll give it a little bit of time to see if this 1250 can hold, but I am going to go execute a 1245. We might just end up cutting this. That's so disappointing right there. So disappointing that we didn't get follow through. I would imagine the NASDAQ has some sort of fill in right there. Let's go ahead and go 1246. And we're already below that. Let's just mark it out of this. Nope. We'll go 1230, the original entry. The original entry. Man, that sucks. That sucks, that sucks. I'm not going to make any excuses. I should have respected this 1250, or 1350. But we got to stop in 1230. Let's just put an alert right here if that triggers us. More than likely we're going to get stopped out. Let's go talk about AI again. Yeah, so looking at the stop that I had earlier in the day, you know, I would say that was a good stop. Could I think about reloading off some levels? Let's go take a look at the NASDAQ. Look-see, same exact. Now that I got a couple new faces in here, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the channel. Oh, I see we have Drift R. Welcome to the channel, Drift R. Hope that you are enjoying what you see. Me kind of shitting the bed on CXAI. It is what it is. For the NASDAQ, we talk about strength as kind of the house at the casino. This is Rudy from HH. Is this Rudy? Yeah, this is Reliable Rudy from HH. We talked about CXAI briefly. I believe that it has hope simply because it has strength. You have some levels down here. It might need to work out some levels ahead of time. Who knows? But I'll give you guys a rundown of kind of what I'm looking at in terms of this gap fill. I'm very big on gaps and I'm very big on strength. So this gap right here, this is your 702 and this is the top meeting in with your last retracement. Looking at strength, yeah, you have a couple moments where strength kind of gives up the ghost, like right in here, it kind of gives up the ghost. But looking more specifically, you have a gap fill for protection. So was there any need to cut this if you were holding for strength on the NASDAQ? In my opinion, I don't think that there was. NASDAQ's been very strong. I look at wave patterns and retracements. 702, I believe the 702 is deadly. So my 702 meeting up right around the gap fill, I would be shocked if this was the wick high. Even though the NASDAQ is red, I'm expecting us to get up to this gap and potentially this 702 before we get a retracement. Now wave patterns, 1, 2, 3, 4 rejecting the previous low and a wave 5 higher low confirmation. I look at that as a single wave pattern to the downside where wave patterns turn into retracements and then you have a wave 3. Now you're going to be like, how is it going to do that? Let's go over to the monthly. We're just going to mark in this simple uptrend right here. Boom. Just like that. just like that. Now I would expect chop action before that, but if this uptrend breaks, that's where you're going to get a wave 3. I do not think that this support down here is going to have any chance. You're going to go retest these highs, potentially retest the previous low of the wave 1, where you actually get a follow through down, and you have some levels that you can retrace down into. Sort of like that. I didn't mean to use that line, but you get the gist. So I'm not counting this out until we can break through the retracement. If we can break through the retracement, then I will be telling myself, hey, there could be some true weight right here, and who knows, maybe we hold an uptrend, sort of like this, and we just hold and we end up breaking through those highs later at a later date. It's tough to say. Now this is why we didn't really want to paper hand CXAI. It would have been nice to get a reload, but I do think that this has some hope as it can hold this level. 3 minutes left on this candle. We're not going to give up on CXAI just yet, but looking at AI, see, this is kind of the level we wanted to see hold as support. So we already stopped out. We have trims all the ways up through here. We stop out of a share right here. We're holding a piece of it. A lot of red volume. Let's give it a little time to breathe. Now looking at the daily, you can see we're respecting some levels and we still have strength. So dating back to my theory on strength, I look at strength as the house at the casino. Underneath weakness, I'd say the strength is towards the shorts. Above, I look at the strength towards the bulls. Now the house doesn't always win. They win majority of the time, but they don't always win. So my goal is to be on the side of the house, and my win percentage, to me, I believe that would be over 50%. But that doesn't mean that that you can't go against strength and win. Now a couple examples of that. I On my Twitter, if you guys are interested, you guys can go take a look at my Twitter. I post all my sticky notes for stock market notes, and some of them I will identify as weak names. Let's see if we can go find one. BTI was a weak name. Oil, Veil was a weak name. I mean, we can use Veil as an example. We like the 1250 support. We thought it had gaps to the downside that we can average into the position. So anytime I'm dealing against strength, I want to make sure I have levels that I can average into at lower prices. So here's the wedge pattern we had identified. Here's a couple gaps to the downside, right here and right here. So this would be looked at as average end prices. Now when we're talking about this at a 1250 level, you can see it's a weak name. Just because it's weak doesn't mean that you can't make money on it. And we identified this 1250 as a potential level. You don't always get the wick bottom. But when you get the entry, I believe you trim the resistance, hold a piece for the dream. My dream would be some gaps to the upside and maybe even potentially the top end of the downtrend. So my goal in this position is to hold a piece for this dream move. Maybe I am talking a little bit too much, and I apologize if I am. So let's just go back over to trading, and we're going to focus more on the CXAI. So I apologize if I am talking a little bit too much. We're going to pull this back over out of your guys' way. And let's just focus on what matters, and that is the trading. So 2 seconds left on this candle. We got a 1230 stop in. Is it going to be able to hold some of these levels? I do not like the increased red volume right after we were getting close to the breakout price and getting further move to the downside. So we're going to sit here and watch this for a little bit, and if we get stopped out, maybe we will look for something else. I wouldn't be opposed to adding more to this if I didn't think that this could potentially turn into some sort of downtrend. Sort of like that. Not the cleanest downtrend. does it play out like that? Who knows? We can go look elsewhere. So farm, a lot of times on these big movements, I just like to see a little bit more information on them. I want to make sure they're not turning into some sort of downtrend retracement back to the gap. And yeah, uh, it's not going to be a very action-packed day. We can go take a look at Ford. I'd expect it to be a little. Now this is what I like to see. We had a trim on this at 31s. Ford is on here, so let's talk about Ford a little bit. Ford is one of those where, we bought it against strength. We identified an uptrend. We actually started our position up here. Now this is where I like to talk about resilience and executing a plan. I could actually maybe scroll over and try and find some of the Ford sticky notes. So let's see if I can find the first one on Ford. Okay, so this is a perfect example. Interesting chart setup, wedge pattern from 1125 to 1250. Strength, I'm already telling myself it's not there on strength yet. Looking to start position today. Nice bull flag setup on a 15-minute chart. So that was the very first sticky note that we posted on this. So let's go to a 15-minute chart and I'll show you what I was talking about. This is the bull flag setup that we were talking about. This is where we started our position. One, we're breaking over some levels. There's your breakthrough some levels. Here's your bull flag consolidation. This is where we started our position. And boom, it goes right against us. But we talk about a wedge pattern. We're 1125. I would have been crazy to say, hey, just sell it. Just sell it. No, we let it fall to support. We respect the plan that we had in place and we start adding to the position. Did I know it was going to give me this follow through? No, I didn't. Now, I'm not perfect either. We had our first sell on this name, not on this, even though we would expect it to retrace back to this gap in some way, shape, or form. But I'm not interested in selling on a fresh positive break on strength. I'm looking to get an exhaustive move higher to the upside. My first trim actually came in on this as it filled this gap. And to me, it looked like we were going to get some sort of retrace where I would have been interested in reloading it. And now we had a trim at 30s. And why did we go at 30s? Is because it's the start of this gap fill. And we're going to respect it up to this gap. 5% trim, nothing crazy. Each one 5% trim. So we're on the ask at 1340 and we're on the ask at 1348. I think we're going to get 1340s and I think it's possible that we fill this gap. You can go back over to the daily chart for this. And I think it's possible that we fill this gap at 1348. And I also think that's possible we fill this flat top up at 1432. So we'll just go from the first entry. In my plan, we fill this gap right here, 8%. The next gap, 15%. The next gap, 22%. Does it mean that it's going to get rejected up here? No. I think it's possible that we could even run up to this 1550. But this is why I talk about get the entry, respect the levels, hold a piece for the dream. That is what I like to preach on this channel. But one of the main reasons why I'm not really making as many sticky notes as of late is because I believe that the NASDAQ is approaching some key resistance. So if I'm trying to get the early entry, it's a lot harder to get that entry when some of the index names are coming in at some resistance. So that's kind of my thoughts with that. We do have UCAR a little bit on watch. Only reason being is because you sort of have direct correlation with this gap. So this could be where longs are in control. Now, not very much volume here, but a nice sideways consolidation. Is this going to present some sort of breakout at 9? It's possible. If I was looking to take an entry, you're building some nice support right here, coming in with some levels. I don't know where VWAP's at, but not a half bad setup right here. Saying that this wick meets in near a breakout price as well. Now I would definitely respect this previous low and the highs right here. So if I'm thinking about taking a trade, get the fill, respect the top, respect the lows, respect the next top. I'm looking at 23% potential. If I get higher, move to the upside. I'm looking at it as retracement. Some of these cells meet up near retracement. This cell meets up at a retracement. So why not just respect them all? And if I can get a 702, I'm all for a 702. I think the 702 is one of the deadliest retracements, and a lot of people don't even use it on their fib tool. So just from current price, my 702 is 50% gain. That's kind of the uh, get the entry early. Is this identifiable as longs getting in? I wouldn't say so yet. It might need to work some levels out before we get a higher move. So UCAR may be on watch a little bit. CXAI still trying to hold this level. Yeah, other than that, Drift R, is there any tickers or anything that you want me to look at? I've probably been doing a lot more talking. I'm pretty bad at dealing with the chat, still kind of a newer streamer or live streamer. So if there's any tickers that you guys ever want me to take a look at, I'm more than welcome to share my opinion. Now, my opinion's not always going to be right. I mean, it's tough to say. Preach away, brother. I appreciate that. Sometimes I get the mic and I just can't let it go. But COSM, that was one of the other posted ones. I would have loved to say that we respected this floor level. I was actually getting lunch right in around here, and when I came back, I seen it at 392. We just took 10% off the position, and I would love to say that hey, we respected this 3 flat level, but we didn't. As it pushed the 50 period, we bought the top end of the 50 period on the very beginning of this day. Now, we didn't respect any of these levels. Our first trim was 392. I think it's possible that with the positive strength right here, which is why we also bought the 50 period, is because this was a day after that positive strength. And looking more specifically at the volume, we're getting some increased volume as well after holding a 3 level. So that was my idea there. It would be nice to sit here and say that we got a 3 flat level. XRP, man. I'm actually a holder of XRP. This was one of the first cryptos I ever bought. And this is how I have my chart set up right here. You have a longer term wedge pattern that's respected. Now, I first started, this is when I was not an experienced trader whatsoever. This was like early stages. I first started buying XRP at like 109. And we were buying it up at 140s. And we were buying it on this drop, and I felt like a genius when it was pushing back up to 130s. But I'm gonna disregard any of that. I've been hearing about it a lot lately. That's one thing that I'm a lot different from a lot of other traders. I don't look at news. I know they're in a lawsuit. I don't look at news. I believe that the chart is going to tell me what the news is. I know that sounds crazy, and maybe I'm not explaining it the greatest way here. I believe that there is good news and there's bad news, and some of the times I just make bad decisions when I'm trying to guess what the news is. So I just try to trade strength. I know that may be confusing, but looking at XRP, just marking some levels, I would say you do have a clear uptrend. Whether that's set perfectly or not, I do think you had a downtrend. It's probably still in that downtrend. And I believe you have a larger wedge pattern as well, where you have a couple different ways of looking at this. Is it perfect? I don't know. But looking over at a weekly chart, this is where I like to use retracements. Top of the move, bottom of the move. You reject. I look at this as a potential retracement, where there's two ways I see XRP going. Now let's clear the chart. Two ways I see XRP going. Now I mentioned that we had an uptrend. If this uptrend breaks, it is potential that you actually see some further downside where you retest these previous lows and have even further downside retracing down to some of these levels. It is very possible. Now, with any retracement, it's also possible that, the dream move, and if I'm long XRP, I want to see this uptrend hold, and I do think it's possible that we could see us print up near these full extensions. I do think it's possible. Is it going to happen? Probably not. But if you're lucky, you can get that dream move. Now, looking at it from this perspective, you have some nice green volume coming in the last few days, and CXAI is going to stop us out. I don't mean to cut out of this, and yeah, we're stopped out. So that kind of sucks, and we will go look elsewhere. I'm sure the Nasdaq's kind of eating it a little bit. Should go take a look at AI. AI still holding 36. I have no interest in selling it at this moment in time. We have plenty of trims on it. Long story short on XRP, I'm long it. I was respecting it in the 30s. I haven't trimmed any. If it can break over top of these highs, I think that you are going to see, and this high meets him with these lows over here. In a sense, you have some resistance built in right here. If it can break over top of that, does it have a chance to get up to 90s short term? Maybe. Maybe not. But I'm kind of just long XRP. I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about the lawsuit. I don't know much. But yeah, in terms of other cryptos, I'm not a crypto expert. I look at crypto as speculation. And for my portfolio, I try not to let more than 5% of my portfolio go to speculation. Do I believe in crypto? I do believe in crypto. But if more people want to buy than sell, the price is going to go down, or the price is going to go up. If more people want to sell than buy at a given price, the price is going to go down. So short-term trading is all a big voting machine. I think the weighing machine, long-term equity, crypto, ETFs, indexes, commodity, it will all trade near its intrinsic value in the long term. I'm a firm believer of that. So I hope that helps anything out there. I don't want to be misleading anyway. Just because I'm holding XRP doesn't mean that it can't shoot down to 25 or even lower than 25. You just never know. But I would make sure you have that uptrend set in there. And I just want to see the uptrend hold. Plain and simple. But looking over at Atom, this is the other crypto that I would say I dip into from time to time. And how I had it set originally is that you potentially have some sort of ascending channel right here. If it gives up these lows, this is where I'd say you are going to see some red engulfing to the downside. I would be pretty confident in that short term. If this uptrend can hold and we don't even flirt with these lows. Now, let's say we get that red engulfing to the downside. This is why I use retracements. Just top of the move, bottom of the move. You get your full extension, you sell off, you try to set new extension, and now we have a huge drop off, kind of into these previous highs. Now a good example I should use, and for some reason I always think of high peak energy. I don't know why. I made a video of this way back in the day. I look at this as a neckline trade. I know. The other things are going away is possible. The way things are going, anything is possible. Yes, anything is definitely possible. I 100% agree with you there. But this is a good example of just, you have a left leg. You try this at some sort of double bottom here. You have a neckline break. Now, we get our extended right leg. Now, when I mean extended right leg is this move pushes higher than the left leg. Now, anytime I see an extended right leg, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I need to look for a back test of the neckline. Here's your neckline that it builds. Boom, boom, double bottom, neckline. Now, why do we top right here? Simple retracement. There's your full extension. Wicks through the full extension, we retrace all the ways back down to the neckline. That's one single trade. Now, anytime I'm looking at a large drop, I'm looking at this extension. Top of the move, bottom of the move. Is it set perfectly? Tough to say. I'd probably try and match it up right there. So we reject right here, but in this move, all I see is another neckline trade. You set a low, you build a neckline, you set another low, and yet again, you have another extended right leg. Now, before this goes bearish right here, I told myself, I made videos back last August that I'm looking for this to eventually give me a back test of the neckline. There's our back test of the neckline. Let's mark that out right there. How about that for direct correlation right there? Direct contact. I mean, if you were interested, you could go look at my HPK video. It basically breaks down everything kind of like this. But you also break the uptrend. Boom, 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 boom. Tries to hold. Now you break down. You retest it to the backside. Retest to the neckline. Just like that. So that's a couple examples that I like to use for the back test of the neckline. And I think Adam had a little bit of that where it could have been just some neckline trading. Let's clear this out. Where this could be looked at as some sort of neckline in here. You have a double bottom, you have the extended right leg. Got to try the back test of the neckline. Now right here, we get to lows that don't really reach this neckline. But had you been patient, boom, there's your back test of the neckline. Your extension from the neckline, 150%. So that's a tool that sometimes I like to use. It's not 100%. Anytime I'm taking a neckline trade, more than likely I want to put that stop loss underneath the double bottom. So somewhere in there, you wouldn't have got stopped out. But I do think that if we break underneath this 850, we're going to see some red engulfing to the downside and potentially even test this for support. But looking at this, if I look at this as a W pattern right here, and I looked at this as a potential neckline, you get the retest of it right here, and you know, I don't know, maybe I'm rambling on too much. Yeah, I'm a very interesting style of trading that maybe you don't see around too often. But CXAI, I still don't want to give up on this, as we do have an uptrend right here that could potentially hold. I just don't like this red engulfing to the downside. It's gonna have to work through some levels. Yeah, man, this one's really gonna kill me right here. We paper handed this one. Drift. HH. I'm here. Cause problems again. Farm. Alright, we'll take a look at farm. I like this volume. I do think farm has a lot better of a setup right here. Nice sideways consolidation. You have some outs. 325. How it acts from that, it's tough to say. But this pullback candle retests this first candle high. I think I just need a little bit more information with farm. If I wanted to go mark out some levels, your wick high goes to this low, so I'd want to make sure I had that marked. And here is that 325 that could potentially hold. And here's 3 break. I think these are all reasonable levels to mark. Could mark this previous top right here, which is actually the open price at a 3 flat. Yeah, you know how I work, Hal. Sometimes I just like to have a little bit more chart information. And this goes back to what I was saying before is There's a million different ways to trade. No single way of trading is perfect. But I do think that this is a fairly decent setup. Could it hold some sort of uptrend? Sort of like that? Maybe. Just maybe. UCAR was one that we were looking at right here. I like this sideways chop action right here. I think uh, as long as it trades in this little sideways, I'm actually going to go put an alert on this and maybe think about it. Let's clear out everything right there. Let's put an alert here for a 9 break. Could be some weight there. Yeah, other than that, we're not really sitting in anything. We got the COSM giving me red engulfing to the downside, testing these previous highs. Not really interested in selling it right here. Pullback candle maybe be due. I'd want to see 360 hold. Yeah, Drift came in and wanted to see what we were talking about over here. I probably didn't make any sense whatsoever in what I was talking about, so maybe all I did was confuse him. Who knows? I hope he took something and he can use it to his own benefit. That's what I really hope. That's what the channel's all about at the end of the day. Is I present my ideas and it's up to you to take it and to use it to your own advantage and your own trading strategy. Nobody's a perfect trader. You know, Hal, he'll tell you that he's perfect. Hal's been doing it a long time. Very experienced trader. But everyone's different. Everyone's different. Uh, so just kind of nursing some positions, we're going to go back over and take a look at Ford. And it looks like we got a wick high of 1338. Let's go to a 15 minute. Ooh, we're very close to that fill right there. 1338. I think I'm going to get that 1340 fill. And we are going to see if we can get this gap fill on Ford or not. For some early trims to the position. And yeah, we're going to respect that gap. Let me just pull up my portfolio real quick and see what we got going on over here. See if there's anything else worthy of taking a look at. We did have this GCT on watch. Already shown me a little bit of increased volume, not very much volume. It filled that gap. Filled that gap. Nice action off of it. A little bit of increased volume. Can it build some sort of U shape? It's possible. It's possible. I'm not counting that out yet. Invax is one that we traded. Was this uptrend set perfectly? Probably not. We were looking at this as some sort of bull flag continuation. Got stopped out of it. Good stop out. Let's see what we got going on here. A lot of the oil. I'm seeing a lot of oil up. Yeah, other than that, maybe worth taking a look at a cut for those that are new to trading. What do you mean by fill? Do you mean exit or entry? It just depends on if you're on the ask or the bid. So Ford, I should clarify that a little bit more. More specifically, the Ford, we're on the ask here at Ford at 1340 and 1348. So a fill can be both sides. It can be to the bid and the ask, in my opinion. If it triggers a limit, that's a fill. If you market sell or you market buy, those are fills. So that's how I'd answer that. Light. This is one that I have kind of just nursing a little bit. I would have loved to tell you that I had a fill on this day, but I was looking for this previous low and this gap fill right here. So no fill. But we did have a dandy of an entry on this one. Just looking at this as a bull flag and continuation. As it was breaking this downtrend, did I know it was going to do that? No. But now we have a really decent test of this 49. Ford is looking like it wants to give us that fill. We're 1 penny off. It's both, Hal. I don't know how else to answer that. I'm looking to get a fill at this on the ask, so I'm looking to sell 1340 for the start, which is the wick bottom right here. 1340. You can see the low right there. 1340, and the gap fill. Well, I'm on the ask at 1348. I thought that's where the gap was. But 1348 and 1340. We are on the ask. Open orders. XLE giving me a nice little pop right here. This is what I want to see. Let's go take a look at oil a little bit. Nice candle, holding some levels, holding strength. Nothing really changes for me. I'm looking to sell at 1340. I'm looking to sell Ford at 1440, and it is not. It is a small 5% trim. A small 5% trim off of 1340, and we have another. And we did probably just get a fill right there. Let's go over and take a look and see if we got a fill right there. And oh, we have not got the fill yet. So let's go in and watch this right on the money. We're at my sell price, and we do not have a fill. So let's see if we can get a fill on this or not. Still no fill. Come on now. Don't do this to me. Don't wick down from here. That's either going to give us a fill or not. I think it will. That's either going to give us a sell there or not. Man, why was I not looking at this today? Nice little volume increase as it breaks over top of that. So this is the lone sticky note that we have for today. You know, I would have liked to say, yeah, we bought this down at 12 yesterday, but we didn't. But I do like this little setup that it has. Nice confirmed higher low from this top. This will be a neckline. Early entries for a potential 14 break. See if we got that sell on Ford or not. And yes, sir, we did. So we run the register just a little bit there. As Ford pushing for this 1348 gap, we will see UCAR. Hold on, we might have a trade alert here. UCAR through 9. Let's go take a look and see if there's any weight to this move. So now that we pushed through 9, just marking the body candles at the top, if I wanted to take an entry on this, 890 is what we'd be looking for. A little bit of volume increase as well. Let's keep a little look on UCAR. This candle is going to close. Let's see if we can get some sort of pullback into this 890. 890. Let's take a look at her. Let's go and maybe think about it. You know, let's just get a small entry into it right now. I haven't entered yet. Giving it just a wee bit of time. Farm. This is kind of what I'm talking about, of more information. Now that I see that we have this red candle, let's see if this can hold right there, and maybe this could be some sort of ascending channel like that. If this low gives out though, let's say we get like a hold of 290, I just want to see it trade sideways and present me some sort of neckline that I can buy. But we do want to make sure this isn't going to turn into some sort of descending channel, sort of like that. So a couple different ways of that playing out. Let's keep our eyes on UCAR. And oh my gosh, you're kidding me. You are kidding me. Why did I not just take an entry right there? Yeah, this candle, 13 minutes left. Look at that volume that came in right there. Why did I not just take an entry? Why? Why didn't I? UCAR put on the running shoes. So now I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go and refill my coffee and maybe try not to chuck something through the wall for not getting that UCAR entry. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now that I've kind of taken a deep breath, we got our refill on coffee. I'm not going to panic. I'm still going to try to look for an entry on UCAR. Now that I can see a wick, let's just put a horizontal line off this wick. What are we rejecting? We're rejecting wick, 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 and a retest to the upside where we're wicking. So we're showing support and showing resistance. Now, another thing that I see, I talked about it right here. Is this a clear sign of entry where longs are getting into the position? As of right here, I would say no. Comparing it over to here, this is where I'd say a lot more longs and a lot more shorts are getting into the position. But looking at these three candles, now comparing it to a lot of this low volume right here where we don't really do anything. This could be an early sign of longs getting in, where if we get over top of this 940, this could be a potential retracement. Looking at it like this, you can see this 950 is my first level meeting in with some lows, the tops meeting in with some highs, my half meeting in with the open of the gap up. So I'm seeing a lot of correlating charting coming in. So comparing this, if this wanted to give me a move up to this 702, which just so happens to meet up at a 13 flat level, just because I missed this 9 flat entry that I would have liked to get from current price up to that 702, I'm still looking at a potential 38% trade. So just because I don't get the entry that I like, doesn't mean that and let me make sure my volume's going. Yeah, my volume is going. I want to make sure that I don't let this really shoot myself in the foot. I like the increased volume on 3 candles right here. We have 9 minutes left. So we still have a lot of time for this candle to kind of give us an entry. But off of this candle, if I'm looking at some sort of bull flag continuation move, I'm still interested off of this 9 flat level and even potentially all three of those levels. So if I was looking at building some sort of position, I would just want to get that wick top right there, which is 902. So if I'm looking at maybe playing this position, I could think about all three of these three different entries for a potential move higher. Uh, so let's put an alert on UCAR for some sort of pullback because I'm not interested in buying it right in front of that 940 resistance, that 950 resistance. So let's put the alert there. If it starts to pull back, we're going to find out. Whew, deep breath, deep breath. Sometimes the market really tests your buttons. That's just part of short-term trading. You're not always going to be perfect. Looking at forward, we are getting very close to that 1348. I will be very happy if we get that fill. Looking at CXAI, as long as it's trading inside of this channel, I can see uh, red volume on these two red engulfing candles to the downside. Does this turn into a bear flag where we give up this uptrend? I just want to see this uptrend hold. If this wants to push up to, let's say, like 1240 and hold this uptrend at 12, this will actually present me some sort of neckline buy where I can maybe think about entering in. So we're going to keep CXAI back on watch. I'm not opposed to re-entering into that. And I would have loved to get that 1350 exit. I cannot believe I didn't get a fill up there. So I'm really kicking myself in the foot for that. Kicking myself in the foot. Jeez, I can't even speak words anymore. I'm just so distraught from that UCAR trade. I should be sitting in it right now. But that doesn't mean we can't find something else. Let's take a look at farm. A couple different ways that we can see this going. Can this hold some sort of uptrend right here that turns into ascending channel? At some point in time, it's going to have to choose a direction. So that's what we're going to be waiting for with farm. Let's take a look at amps. Let's see if we can just find anything that looks decent. I like this S-Fix. I was looking at this the other day when it was holding this uptrend, and I kind of disregarded it on Monday when it gave up that uptrend. Ooh, excuse me. Let's go take a look at AI. We're still holding a small piece of AI, and this is what I was talking about earlier in the stream. We wanted to give this 36 flat a chance to hold. We wanted to give 36 flat a chance. And what's holding right now? 36 flat. But that doesn't mean that that it's perfect. We still have a shelf of support that it holds. Now, is it going to reject it? So if I was thinking about a stop, I'd probably say underneath this wick low, I could just cut the position and say, hey, it's a winning trade. But we'll give it a little bit of time. COSM still holding this 270. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Hold. Can it really hold above that? It's kind of giving it up right now. Looking at the daily, you can see I'm okay holding this in probably under 350 or to that 350. So probably not going to have much action there on that name today. Let's go keep looking through some of these. Let's go back to the 15-minute. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Now that I have a little bit more information on this C-Jet, where this could be some sort of downtrend like this, and also some sort of descending channel that meets up with that. Can this be something that holds and we break over top? Possible. We're going to need a little bit more time with that one. Let's keep going. UCAR, nice green candle. Right at that 950. I would not be interested in taking a trade right into this resistance. I'm fully expecting this to reject this level. I'm confident that we're going to reject that level for now. Now, if we get over top of that level, disregard anything I said, this thing could rip up to like top end 1050, maybe even higher, like 1150. And I'm going to be really pissed at myself. But let's keep looking. Let's see if we can find anything else. This is what I'm talking about, where maybe early signs of an ascending channel. Now that I see this information, mark these lows like that. It's gonna have to break through. So let's say we reject this downtrend, we hold this low right here, and then we eventually this rejection right here gives us a neckline break. Now another part that I see about this wick, see how it's rejecting the low of the open candle? You're putting a wick into that, so it's already showing me that it's rejecting some levels. Can it hold and eventually break out, where then we're talking about a breakout price up near around 19? So let's keep looking. Let's see if we can find anything else. CJet. I kind of like this CJet look right here. It's possible that could pan out. Ooh, Zum. See how we got two nice green candles. Not very much volume. Not very much volume. Let's see what the daily's looking like on this one. Close to a positive break. They just got done reporting earnings. We gap up over top of some levels. You were able, now look at where we gap up and we push through. We were able to push through those lows right there. Now I'd say you have some clear resistance, maybe off of this low and the tops right there. So potential catalyst here. Let's go ahead and put an alert right in front of that 1650. Ah man, I should just pay for it. GFAI, we still had an alert on that. We can take that off. We can take this phase alert off. We can take this amps alert off. This CMRE, we can maybe take that alert off right there. So let's put that back in right in front of that and see if that has any weight to it right there. I can see this current candle increase volume, but there's wicks on both sides, so selling and buying. See back to 8 on UCAR. That's gonna take some time because this could be early signs of some sort of ascending channel, sort of like this, where this is the pullback into this 9 level that I'm gonna be looking for. The volume's definitely coming in. This is more early signs of, okay, longs are starting to get back into this name. I think you're gonna have to see a lot more information to see this back at 8 flat. 8 flat, that's gonna be asking for a lot for today. My opinion, of course. What was that one that I just put an alert on? Zum? CJet. CJet, I'm gonna need some more information on that. That's gonna take some time to play out. Okay, let's see if we can find anything else. And bot, man, that's been on a tear. Increased volume on the move up. Nice sideways consolidation. Now taking out the highs. A pretty decent setup right there, honestly. Definitely had support down in near that 3. Let's keep looking. Man, how about that hold all the way through? IEP, unbelievable. wick high on Ford there was 45. I think we're gonna get that sell order filled today. A lot of these oil plays are up there today. Yeah, I think a lot of my focus is just gonna be UCAR, CRM. Look at that. We were just looking for an alert to come back there. There's our open candle right here. We just wanted it to pull back, that's all. We didn't want it to shoot up. GCT could have some potential. Fubo, nah. Has a nice uptrend hold though. CXAI. I think I'm sticking with CXAI and UCAR are the two that really look the best to me, I would say. A lot of these oil plays have that same setup. Oh, we might have something here. MSOS. I like that decreased volume. Only one candle with increased volume right there. Let's go take a look at the daily here. Getting a positive break. Has a volume increase. Right around the 550 level. Holding an uptrend. Might need to pull back in first. And then this ends up being a neckline break. I'm going to end up keeping that on watch. I do like this little setup right there. A lot of increased volume. Anytime I see a lot of green candles to the upside like that, just switch it over to an hour chart. ZUM. Z. C-U-M-Z. You can see the hour chart. Doesn't look really that great though. Last time I didn't pull the trigger on an alert. We've seen what happened there. Doesn't mean that's going to happen the next time. UCAR. Just want to see this kind of wick and start giving me that pullback down too. I'm going to move this alert to like 25s. I don't think UCAR is going to give us the pullback. I really don't think so. What was I just looking at? I was just looking at something. I mean, this is kind of around a nut up or shut up on this name right here. If I want to get an entry, why did it just have to? Why couldn't it just pull back into like 1250? We'll keep a look at farm. UCAR, yes. Keep leaving that wick right there, please. Give me a pullback. IEP is just ripping. I mean, I really just don't see the need to really go out of my way for anything today. Hoth? Hoth. Interesting little setup right here. If I was looking at an alert, this is where we gap down on the day. Holds 3. Really, really light volume though. This, I think, just needs more time. Farm gonna have to test it under 3. You know, Hoth, if it got over top of like 350, I think it's a trade. Potentially. Potentially. BTI. GFAI, I still think that this could give some sort of breakout. UCAR, that's what I'm talking about. Yes, sir. Let's go. Come on, what are we looking like here? Ooh, ooh. Man, this is what happened on CXAI. There's some buying there. I think we're gonna try it on a few shares. The question is, where do we want to try it? 6 minutes left. Let's get a better idea of what this volume is gonna look like. Definitely a little wick of buying there. Just a nice little tap. Retest of 9. Ripley, what are you doing? UCAR back to 8 flat is... I would be absolutely shocked if that happened. What is it, puppy? What is it? My dog's gotta go outside. Oh, why do you gotta go outside, puppy? Every time, right when the trade seems to start giving me some sort of hope that we can maybe get an entry into it, the dog, every time. You never fail. You never fail to disappoint me. Alright, let's go outside. We'll be right back. Looking at Zum, I do think that this could be a potential trade as well. I want to see it retest this top, just like UCAR just did. I think both of those are the two I'm looking at. Alright, let's go out. Go outside. Dutch, come on. You can smell my fear? Maybe. Just maybe. UCAR is not coming back down to 8 today, Hal. Not 8 flat. Not with this setup. I'd be shocked. Man, I really just want to try this trade out. Both of these have pretty decent setups. Let's go on the bid at 910. Starter position. If that fills, it fills. And we might try 905 and 9 flat. Start leaving that wick into there. C-Jet. Kind of respecting this little downtrend that we got set. My dogs are barking at someone. I'll be right back. Oh, now I'm out of breath. Alright, let's see if we got the fill on UCAR. Did we get a fill on it? Hal, I think you're crazy if you think UCAR is coming down to 8 today. Okay, not 8, 750. How confident are you in that analysis? I'm about to get a fill at 910. Eight, 100%, 750, and we're talking about today's trading day, right? Are we talking about later in the week, or are we talking today? Today? Man, I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. This would need to blast through a ton of support. Out of curiosity, where's VWAP at? I'm sure VWAP, here's the opening candle. So it starts off right here. It probably holds, and it's probably right in with this uptrend. Yeah, marked. I wouldn't be surprised. There's my fill. We're in on UCAR. Let's see if we got any movement whatsoever on this name. We're in. Looking for a test of 9. Let's put a bid out there for it. So you're saying you would short this setup right here? VWAP's 9 flat. So you're saying that if it breaks VWAP, we're going to just straight down to 8. I'd say a lot of my support. is actually meeting in with VWAP. Keep an eye on CJet. I like this nice descending channel, potential break. We're looking to be buying this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In an hour and a half, we could be taking a trade on CJet, give or take. What was the other one I was talking about? Zum? Let's go take a look at Zum. I put my kids' college fund behind a drop on this. How? What am I gonna do with you? So what part of this setup tells you that this is gonna drop to 8? The only thing that I would give you, Hal, is that it is kind of a tight ascending channel where it could be broken down very easily. That's the only credit I'm going to give you to a potential test of 8. I think we're going to see this wick into like 8, 9, a false break at 9, right into this uptrend. The more it gives this bull flag setup, the less likely you're going to get 8 today. Bag holders getting out. Are you insinuating that this candle and this candle is bag holders getting out? I think this is bag holders getting in, if you ask me. And I think you're seeing more people like myself that just got in off of 910. Is bag holders getting in. Let's go back, take a look at CXAI. Now this is kind of what I wanted to see. Reject around this 1240. Pull back in down the 12. Kind of build this U shape and trap the shorts. Trap the shorts for an eventual 1250 break. 1025 was the opportunity for bag holders to exit. Today is another opportunity. So let's go take a look at that 1075 and see if we can get a better understanding. 1025. I do see the resistance you're talking about right here, Hal. This 1025. But now that I would say more of your resistance should be coming in at this 950 level. And when you're seeing a nice setup like this, there's so many people that are going to be sitting here waiting for this 990 break. My opinion, I think you have a lot of people sitting here waiting for a little bit more clarity at this 990. We could see a break through the top end of this channel. We very well could. Man, look at that NASDAQ. Hey. Left leg, build the neckline. Double bottom, extended right leg. Back test the neckline. Let's draw out the trade. We'll do this for the live stream. We're risking $115. 115. Where's our 115? Goes up to 430. Now let's just play this a little bit lower. Now we'll leave it at 115. I like 115. So there's our 1-to-1. There's our 2-to-1. Our 3-to-1 meets up right at the top, insinuating that we are looking for a move on the NASDAQ for a 3-to-1. 2.5%. C-Jet. There we go. Let's get a wick into that downtrend. That's what we like to see. That is what we like to see. So now that we got a little bit more information on farm, we had a couple more candles. I got bug out, bro. Got a call for work. I'll be watching for 8 though. Okay. Yeah, appreciate you for tuning in, Hal. And we will see if that 8 comes in. I would be shocked if 8 came in today. 3 adjust this uptrend. And set it more like that. See if that has any hold to it. UCAR. I ain't scared of a little wick. We're in that middle ground right now. We're in the middle ground. Drift R, I'm glad you're still sticking around. I was getting ready to cut the stream, but if you're hanging around, we'll keep watching this UCAR trade and go from there. I would be shocked if we see an 8, but we're gonna see Battle of the Traders play out. Zum, here we go. Now we're getting a little bit of consolidation on Zum. If I wanted to try and play this flat top. Now one thing I will say, you have an uptrend build. You don't really test the top end if this is going to play out as some sort of ascending channel. Man, there's so many good setups today that I just feel like it's a little bit too much of a coincidence. I'm not giving up on this UCAR yet. This is only the second candle. Anytime I'm trading a bull flag like this, I'm looking at that third candle to show me something. I'm actually looking to add more to this UCAR as I like this setup quite a bit. And all I want to see is this 890 hold. So more than likely my stop is going to be 850. Where, you know, that might be where Hal gets his 8. It's possible. Might as well go take a look at CXAI again. Doing what I want it to. AI. See how it's kind of rejecting, showing me wick, 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 wick. More than likely I'm going to end up getting stopped out of like a 35.40. 35.40. where I'd be thinking reload off 33, 33 to 34. That is what we are going to be looking for with that. NASDAQ almost down 1% today. Still wicking into a level though. Man, this setup looks good. Just taking those markings off sometimes just gives you a little bit more clarity. Man, this setup looks really, really good. I'm going to be sitting here wishing I added more size. Forward kind of giving me a little bit of rejection. Didn't get that 30. Let's go ahead and move that 48 order, and let's move it to 1345. So we're going to go replace that and move that just down a few pennies. All I'm looking for is to get some sort of fill. That's all I'm looking for. This is exactly how you draw it up right here. Where's that Zum at? Let's go take a look at Zum. Look at that wick. There's your buying pressure coming off this previous high. Beautiful. Beautiful. Where is the low of that? 1640. So this is kind of a slower mover. Looking at farm. The more it just keeps hovering around this, the more it's going to look like a flat bottom break when it breaks 3. And you're going to see this downtrend kind of play out. GCT. Let's go ahead and put an alert on 704. Slower mover, but how many longs got in right here? Could be some longs exiting. But I don't mind the setup. The setup's not terrible. And that should be the close of this candle. Let's see what this next candle wants to do. Now I'm looking for like a 925 hold in the middle of this green candle. So the bottom end is 914, top end, bottom of the candle is 916, top is 948. So now that we are in this third candle now I just want to see the tape. I want to see some sort of volume come in. And there's 28 on 42. So I like the way that's looking. Zum, kind of the same story. The more I look at this, the more I would have liked an entry around that 16, but could be something there. So while we're waiting on this trade to just kind of play out, is there any questions? I should always ask that. Is there any questions that you have, whether it's about indicators, whether it's about, you know, I don't know, maybe the watch list, maybe uh, the setup, why I like the setup. Basically, why I like the setup is, it was able to break over the early market highs. I see three nice green candles with increased volume, and on the way down, if this is a bull flag, I just want to see decreasing volume, where that volume picks up as soon as we take out this high. Indicators, I'm just using a 21 EMA. I normally never go underneath a 15-minute chart, and I use a 34 EMA. EMA kind of insinuates, exponential moving average is what it stands for, but in a sense, it kind of gives you weighted average price, kind of like a VWAP. So you notice I don't use a VWAP on my chart. I just think that VWAP scares you away a lot. Where sometimes the price slightly goes below VWAP, but it could be trading at a decent level. So how said VWAP was at 9 flat. Well, this does give you a nice exact tap of VWAP, but in my eyes, all it did was retest what was resistance and turned into support. So to be able to identify this as a support range, to me, I don't think that I need VWAP to be able to identify that. Now, I know whether you go look at any trader out there, more than likely they're gonna have a VWAP. I just don't, and that's where personal preference kind of plays into it a little bit. I have nothing against VWAP. I just don't get any. I've had VWAP kind of fake me out once or twice to the point where I said, let's try it without VWAP and see where it goes from there. And ever since I did that, I haven't looked back. So that's my 10 cents on that matter. So kind of just that halfway point in the middle of this candle, you can see a little bit of wick of buying. A little early to tell, but a little wick of buying, that is what I want to see. Now even if this pulled back in to the bottom like a 910, I'm still okay with it. It's just not going to look as good in my opinion. So 9 minutes left on this candle. I can see farm trying to hold this sort of area. So maybe some potential there. Now we're seeing a little bit more of a wick coming in right there. Let's see if we can get any follow through on this. And I think we can. I think we're kind of just in a middle ground right now. And it could go either way. Just because I'm in the trade doesn't mean that it's going to work out. Nobody's perfect. 29s. We're going to go on the bid at 25s here. We're going to stay true to this and see if we can pick up a few more shares, average up a little bit. I'm not a fan of averaging up, only when I feel it's necessary. So let's try 925 and see if we can get a few more shares picked up here. Buyers, again, coming in the middle of this green candle. Seven minutes left, so we're about halfway through this candle, and I can see probably going to exceed this volume candle. So all it would take is for this candle to turn green, and I think you're going to see even more buyers come in. We're going to up that 25 to 30. I just want to try and get a fill. And just like that, candle turns green, volume is about even, sitting at a 950. And we did not get 30 fill there either, so that kind of sucks. But we're going to see if this can give us any follow through. If I wanted to, I could probably mark some sort of downtrend like that. And there, I think we just got a 30 fill, potentially. Let's see if we got that 30 fill. We did not get a 30 fill there. Four minutes left on this candle. Little bitty wick of buying pressure there. And now if this candle does turn green, we have the early signs of increased volume. Four minutes or 3 minutes, 30 seconds left on this candle. This 950 has been acting as resistance, and it looks like we are going to start getting that breakout. It just took out 32 lots on 59s, 60 holding, 63s, And we are going to start seeing this play out. And we're going to take our first piece off right here. We're just going to cut 10% of the position and try and get as high a price as we can. Give it a little bit more time. Let's see if we can get some sort of green engulfing up to 70s. And we're going to start taking pieces off accordingly near the breakout price, just in case this wants to just wick up and give us a false hope. $65. I'd say that's probably good enough to start taking a piece off. And there's our 70s we were looking for. Let's see where the fill came in at. And there we got a 974 fill on that. Whoo! That is what we're talking about. From an early entry down at 910, we just took 70 cents on a 10% trim. And we have a minute 30 left, and now we do have clear signs of increased volume. We're going to go on the bid at 80s. Let's just keep playing the course. And the bid's out there, or not the bid. We're not on the bid. I did not mean to say that. We are on the ask. We are trying to sell shares at 980. We have a minute left on this candle. Let's see if we can get some follow through. Big battle taking place. Definition of an indecision candle right here. We are getting the increased volume. If it wants to go against us, we are still okay. This is only candle number 3. And we got a 974 fill, 64 cents a share. We are completely okay with taking trims like that. Could we have trimmed more? We very well could have. If we wanted to, we could stop some shares underneath the body of this candle, which is a 950, so a little bit underneath, like a 945. We could stop some shares. That still guarantees us 35 cents a share. But I think that this looks very good, and we're going to see what this next candle has for us. C-Jet. Ooh, look at C-Jet showing some strength. Look at that. Zum doesn't really have that beautiful setup like UCAR did. Drift, I do apologize. I got a couple work calls that I got to make myself. I'm going to keep nursing this trade, but I am going to cut the stream, and I may stream again later today. I try to stream twice a day. But I don't see me taking a midday trade at this point. I'm probably going to continue nursing this position. And yeah, we'll be back here tomorrow. I'm planning on starting my live stream whenever Hal has to take a work call or whatever the case. Yeah, I will make sure I update on the Discord as well. I appreciate you tuning in and staying as long as you did, and I'm happy to have you on the show. But other than that, I'm gonna call it right here, and you have a good rest of your day as well. So I will see you later.